Hi everyone, it's Kira with Polymer Clay TV, and today I'm going to show you how to make this fun eat, drink, and be merry napkin ring. It's so quick and easy. Let's go ahead and get started. So for this project, it's going to be pretty simple stuff. We're going to need a set of graduated round cutters. We're really just going to use one in whichever, probably this one is good for a napkin ring. So we're going to pick one of those. We're going to need some letter stamps to do the words. I've got my leaf press. I'm using souffle clay. The color is concrete. And then I've got my gilding polishes, and this color is citrus green and Indian pink. So step one, we're going to condition some of that clay. I only conditioned a 1/4 bar to get this, and make it long enough to fit around your circle form. And we're going to square up the edges. Get rid of that raggedy clay, and then we're going to just wrap this around here. And what you can do is gently press and then open it up, and you'll see a line on the clay that'll tell you where to cut it off so that when you roll it back up again it will fit. So we'll just wrap this around here and butt the edges up to each other. Whoops. And I'm not going to worry too much about smoothing the seam just because I'm going to be covering a lot of this. Alright, to make the leaf parts, you can do one of two things. You can either wad up a piece of clay and smash it. So we'll do that method first. I'll show you what that looks like. It's fairly cold here, so my clay is a little bit harder to get moving and keep it going. But you would make your general leaf shape and then put it down on here and fold this over and smush it. And you're going to get the veins on both sides, so you'll have veining on the front and back, and then you can choose which side you like to keep facing upward. Or you can take your piece of clay that is rolled fairly thin, and I might go even thinner than this. I don't want this to be bulky, so this is a 3. I'm going to take this down to a 4. So I've got that thin sheet, and then I'm going to cut leaf shapes using a flexible blade. And smush them in here. So that I can apply them. And then you pick, do you want the veins going in or popping out? Popping out is usually the back of a leaf, so I'm going to put that down and let the in part go face up here. So then we're just going to go ahead and cover as much or as little of that with leaves as you want. And you can freehand cutting out your shapes. so that some are smaller, some are bigger. You can use multiple kinds of leaf. I'm going to cut on this tile because I don't want to accidentally cut my Teflon sheet. You can do some pre-forming before you put them in the press. I mean, it's completely up to you how you want to use this thing. It's basically just a really fun way to get that leaf going on here. So then just keep going till you've covered as much or as little with leaves of your napkin ring as you want to. So I have finished and I've arranged some leaves all the way around. I made some small ones, some big ones, some medium-sized ones, and I made them all going in the same direction. I just thought that that would look cool. So now I'm going to do some gilding polish. I'm going to do some before I bake and some after. So I'm going to do this green now, and I'm just going to pop that to the side and open my jar. And swipe a little of this onto my sponge. Because I'm just going to touch it to these green leaves. And yes, this I am doing prior to baking. It's going to bake onto my clay, and then afterwards I'm going to antique with the pink. So I'm going to get a nice varied color look here. And this is going to pounce onto the high parts. Whatever's sticking up the highest is going to get this color right now. And then later the pink will be in the low parts. So I'm sort of pouncing and swiping to get it on all the spots where I want it to go. You can pick any colors that you like. We carry these paints in the shop at createalong.com. They are fantastic. But because they're so fantastic, they do tend to sell out kind of quickly when we get them in stock. So we encourage you to, and I'll wash that out. Oop, got a little on my finger. I'll wash that out in the sink in a minute here. But we encourage you to come on over and check out the paints. They're called Gilding Polish. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry for a minute, and then I'm going to put my words on. So for the words, I'm just going to take a little piece of clay and make a little sort of oblong shape. And the first word I'm going to write is eat. I'm going to do eat, drink, and be merry. I think that that's a cool thing to put on a napkin ring. So I'm just going to make this little bean of clay, flatten it out enough to write the word eat on it, which is just 3 letters, so you don't need a lot. And then I'm going to pick a spot on here for it, maybe right here. And attach it, and then get my letters out. So I need E, A, and T. So just pay attention when you're stamping. I think I'll start with the A first so I get it in the middle. So there's my A. Just watch the direction when you lay down your text. E, and here's the T. So there it says eat. All right, the next one's going to be drink. So I've got my slightly longer little bean of clay that I'm going to press out onto here, maybe right there. You can smooth it a little, get your fingerprints out, and then I'm going to start with the eye in the middle. I, N, K, and here's the R, and the D. So there we have drink. All right, so here we go. We have eat, drink, and be merry. And if you like, what we can do is highlight it with a little powdered pigments, or you can use ink, anything that you have lying around. This happens to be Brilliant Gold Pearl-Ex. So I'm just going to rub a little of that on the words to highlight them a little bit, make them stand out. Eat, drink, and be merry. Okay, and now this is going in the oven for 30 minutes. So you could do a whole set of these and decorate your table. So when these come out of the oven, I'll show you how I'm going to finish them off. All right, we're out of the oven, and we're going to gently, carefully twist this little baby off of here. It's still a little warm because I tend to have better results popping things off of metal when it's still a little bit warm from the oven. There we go. Okay, so next we're going to open up this Indian pink color and get a brush and a paper towel. And this time I'm going to just use my brush, and you can see that this paint is quite dense, right? And I'm going to mash it around here. Especially on these lower parts and in the cracks. And then I'm going to immediately use my paper towel to start wiping it back, just as if I were antiquing using regular paint. And because my clay is warm, the paint actually wants to dry right away. So if you do it like this, you're going to want to move fast. And you don't have to paint over the entire piece. You can just go on the spots where you want it. How you antique is totally, completely personal preference. So I'm going to flip it over so I can more easily get at the other side. I know that I definitely want it to be on the edges and in the cracks. I'm just going to have to move quickly because of the weather. It's cold, my clay is warm. It's like working against the antiquing process. It just wants to dry immediately on the clay. But you get the idea, and if you get a little bit too much of one color, the awesome thing is that you can go back with your other color, which I'm going to do. I'm going to open my green in a minute. And just paint back and forth with the pink and the green to get it where I want it. See, I got a little on that, so This paint is water-based. You can wet the area and rub it right back. While I still have wet pink paint on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and do the edges. And look how beautiful and metallic that color is. It's really super shiny. It sticks to the clay quite nicely. It's just fabulous stuff, which is why we like it so much. This is kind of a dry brushing. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Dry brushing technique. There we go. Okay. And next I'm going to open my green back up again. And why don't we use, I think I'll dry brush again. I'm just going to get a little bit of green here so that I can go back over the edges of my leaves and just go back and forth until I have the amount of green and pink where I want those colors to be. So that's the lovely thing about them. You can layer them. And they're metallic and slightly opaque, so they have a texture to them as well, so they're just interesting. Just remember, as with any acrylic water-based paint, you're going to want to wash your brushes. You're going to want to wash your applicators if you did use them, because it's acrylic, so it's death to a brush or an applicator. It just dries it up and makes it unusable again. So go wash those. And here we go with our finished Eat, Drink, and Be Merry napkin holder. And I just wanted to show you that if you got a little paint in the wrong spot, you can wet it and take it right off. So like here, I'm just using a little bit of water to break down the paint and then wipe it back. So if you do happen to get it in a spot where you didn't really want it to be, it's very easy to wet it back down and wipe it off. Now, if you want this to stay exactly as it is, you might want to seal it with a spray, like a PYM2, or with another kind of a sealer, like the Vintage Patina has a really good sealer that works good on the clay. But enjoy. All the tools and the paint can be found at createalong.com. And this is a really fun and easy way to decorate the table, even just with, this paper napkin. And you can make them for any occasion. You could make them for Mother's Day or Christmas, Thanksgiving, any holiday, somebody's birthday. Make them in their favorite colors because they're really easy to whip up. It's just a fun project. So have fun creating along with us, and we will see you next Wednesday for another tutorial.